Hey folks, Ray Gano here. How's everybody doing? Yes, this is another Coffee with Ray. This morning I got a really interesting question from a reader that I want to share with you, and I thought I'd take the time to actually answer on PZTV. Well, I have a question here from R. Nathaniel Daggett posted in my Servant Warrior group. He says, "Hello, Ray. Thank you for what you're doing to prepare the Christians and the world for what is ahead. I'm perplexed about something that has been troubling me now for over a year. Are you aware of the Mandela Effect? There are many things that appear to be different or have been changed to what I remember them to be. I've been told that it's my poor memory, but I cannot buy into that as I remember certain things differently than what they are today. I know that I know. If this whole Mandela effect is true, then it has to be the biggest supernatural event occurred since Jesus overcame death. It appears that the Bible even speaks of this, and he's quoting here in Daniel. He will attempt to change times and laws, and that's addressing, the Antichrist. I mean, is it CERN? Is it demonic? Is it the multiverse? He says, I really don't believe that one. I'd like to know others who are experiencing this phenomenon. Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated, as no pastors or Bible scholars will touch this, or when I bring it up, my memory that is called into question. God bless you, brother. So, what is the Mandela effect? In fact, tell you what, let's check it out here on the internet right now. I jumped over here to BuzzFeed, and there's a page here that says 20 examples of the Mandela effect that will make you believe you're in a parallel universe. And how this effect or how this internet phenomenon got going is that it says there's an unexplained phenomenon that you probably experience knowing what it's called and it's garnering more attention lately. It's called the Mandela effect. It is what the internet is calling are these curious instances when many of us are aware and are certain that we remember something a particular way, but it turns out to be incorrect. The name of the theory comes from when people feeling a certain, the name of the theory comes from many people feeling certain that they could remember Nelson Mandela dying when he was in prison back in the 80s. Contrary to what many thought, Mandela's death was actually on December 5th, 2013, despite some claiming to remember seeing video clips of his funeral and such in the 80s. To believe it or not, I'm actually one of those people. I thought Mandela died in prison. And come to find out, no, he didn't. He served for president of South Africa, yada, yada. So here's some really crazy Mandela effect situations. One, Oscar Mayer is not spelled that way. A lot of people actually thought that Meyer is how Oscar Mayer was spelled. And in fact, I remember the song, My Baloney has a first name, it's Oscar, and so forth. But My Baloney has a second name, it's Mayer. And even though we sing the Mayer, people still think that it's Meyer, and it isn't. The show Sex in the City, it's not called Sex in the City, it's actually called Sex and the City. Other things, and this one often got me too. We are the champions, and it talks about here in the song. If you know this, there's no time for losers because we are the champions, and it goes of the world. And guess what? It says there is no of the world when the song ends. So, in fact, I was one of those people again who thought it said of the world. Another Mandela effect issue here, remembering Uncle Pennybags with a monocle. I can swear that I saw Uncle Pennybags with a monocle, and yet in Monopoly history, he's not there. Pikachu, I really don't know about Pikachu, so I'm going to skip this one. The Bernstein Bears are actually called the Bernstein Bears. Again, I don't really know this one. Curious George never had a tail. A lot of people claim to remember seeing him use his tail to swing from the trees. If you look up pictures of Curious George right now, you'll see that he doesn't have a tail, meaning either your memory made the whole thing up or you're like drifted into a parallel universe. Here's a good one, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is not spelled Chick-fil-A or Chick-fil-A. It's called Chick-fil-A. Chickfila. And here's another one, great one. Darth Vader doesn't say, Luke, I'm your father. Uh, this is probably one of the most famous phrases in Star Wars history, and it's, he doesn't say it. He actually says, no, I am your father. So it's not saying, Luke, I am your father. It's no, I'm your father. Um, Here's another one from Star Wars history. C-3PO is not gold, and this is a pretty tricky one too, because I remembered this as well. He has a silver leg in the entire series. If you remember early on in the movie, his leg got blown off, and so he was put up another leg on him, and that entire leg was silver. And a lot of people don't even remember it. In fact, a lot of the memorabilia that you purchase about C-3PO doesn't have the silver leg either. Other ones, Mona Lisa smiling, I don't remember that. Kit Kat does not have a dash. Again, I thought there was a dash with Kit Kat. Uh, let's see, Forrest Gump stating that, life is like a box of soft chocolates. Well, he actually said life was like a box of chocolates. Hannibal Collector saying, hello, Clarice. Interview with the vampire instead of interview with a vampire. A lot of people think it's a. Snow White never said mirror, mirror on the wall. She always said magic mirror on the wall. Now here's one that I thought, and again, this is part of my Mandela effect. Jiffy peanut butter. I always thought there was Jiffy peanut butter. No, it's called Jif peanut butter, not Jiffy. And along the same lines, Fruit Loops. I always thought it was Fruit Loops, F-R-U-I-T Loops, and then they changed it to the double O. Well, again, the double O has always been there. So these are examples of a Mandela effect, memories that we thought that we had, but were actually incorrect. What we may be dealing here is something called false memories. And if you go to Wikipedia, in fact, let's just go there right now. If we jump over to Wikipedia here, we looked up false memory, and it says here, false memory is a psychological phenomenon wherein a person recalls something that did not happen. False memory is often considered in legal cases regarding childhood sexual abuse. The phenomenon is initially investigated as psychological pioneers Pierre Janet and Sigmund Freud. Freud wrote in The Analogy of Hysteria, where he discussed repressed memories of childhood sexual trauma. What we're seeing here, what Mandela effect is, again, false memories. Now, interestingly enough, we Lotus and Palmer conducted a study to investigate the effects of language on the development of false memory. Now, this is interesting for the fact that based on the way words are presented, can create a false memory. What they did is they tested 45 people in a video series. What they showed is a video car accident. One accident going at 20 miles an hour, another being 30, the other being 40. Afterwards, participants filled out a survey, and the questions were asked about how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other. The question always asked the same thing, except the verb to describe the collision was varied. Rather than smashed, other verbs used include bumped, collided, hit, or contacted. Participants estimated collisions of all the speeds of average 35 miles an hour to just below 40 miles an hour. If the actual speeds were the main factor in the estimate, it could be assumed that the participants would have lower estimates of lower speeds. Instead, the word being used to describe the collision seemed to better predict the estimate in the speed rather than the speed itself. Now, again, what they showed here is that words were able to create a false memory. And so the words being used to describe the collision seem to better predict the estimate in the speed rather than the speed itself. So basically what these people were being is manipulated in using words. They were shown a video, and because they were asked to remember about it and words were being used, what happened is that a false memory was being created. Now, interestingly enough, this is also a very something that they use in PSYOP. Military PSYOP is to create false memories and confuse people to try to get information out of prisoners of war, so forth and so on. Well, is this something that could possibly be used today against the U.S. people or just the people as whole? in showing videos and again manipulating or helping create false memories in people. It is quite a possibility and something that I definitely think could happen. Okay, folks, I have to ask you, what is the Mandela effect? Is it a psyop, or is a psyop effect that is being done on purpose over a large scale and over a large mass population? Are we being fed a bunch of lies by the shadow government or something? Are we purposely being confused, dumbed down, um, um, indoctrinated in a sense or manipulated or something? I mean, partly yes, I do believe part of that is going on. Another thing is this a part of CERN? You know, the big molecular collider that's over in Europe. Are we opening a multiverse where we are seeing parallel universes? I really can't say that for sure. Or, and this is one what I'm really leaning towards, is are we seeing a deception by the enemy? Is he purposely counterfeiting the Holy Spirit? Now, I know that you was like, what? Well, how is he counterfeiting the Holy Spirit and so forth? One of the things I've noticed in ministry throughout the years is that I see at times a number of sermons or messages or something taking place at the same time. I remember one time where me and my good friend Jack Kinsella were preaching, and we decided to have an ad hoc Sunday morning message at a PZ get together that we did several years ago. And this was again at my house and everything. Nothing was planned. And so we thought, hey, it would be great to just hold church and do some quick sermons. Well, interestingly enough, the sermon I talked about was being to your shame for not sharing the gospel. Now, interestingly enough, is Jack actually had the same message using the same verses, but he talked about it differently. And it's just interesting. He totally says, folks, listen, this was not planned. This is a total trip. We did not sit together and say, oh, we are going to talk about this at all. I came up with my message and Jack came up with his message. Now, interestingly enough, fast forward to today, and I am seeing the same thing take place today. I am seeing a message being brought to the people through the men of God that are saying that we need to be ready. We need to shore up. We need to raise up the remnant and be ready for the fight. I'm I'm also seeing a message of we need to stop bickering. We need to stop arguing. We need to stop splitting hairs over trivial issues. There's three or four messages that are resounding with the people nationwide, and I know that I've been speaking this message, but I also know that I have been talking to any of these other people who are also bringing this message also. So who is bringing this message? I honestly believe it is the Holy Spirit working in the hearts of men and women to bring a message that he wants brought forward. And so we're seeing a lot of pastors and teachers and authors and everything bring forward the same message. Why? It isn't CERN, it isn't the multiverse, it isn't the Mandela effect. I honestly believe that what we're seeing here is the Holy Spirit working through the hearts of men. And I think what the enemy is possibly doing is counterfeiting this sort of same thing, trying to create confusion among the people and kind of poo-pooing it off, making it some sort of false memory or Mandela effect situation. Now, again, this is purely speculation on my part, but when I'm looking over all these things and everything, this is what I'm seeing. And I've learned that when you brush away all the other elements, what's left is usually the truth. And I'm seeing this. And this is again just my speculation, but is it possible that the Mandela effect is in fact a counterfeit of the Holy Spirit working through the hearts of men and women, bringing the message that the Holy Spirit wants to be brought forth to today. That we need to stand up, that we need to be ready to share the hope, that we need to make a difference for the Lord, that we need to be, bringing more people into the kingdom, that we need to be sharing the gospel, that we need to understand that hard times are coming, that we need to be ready to share this hope. All these things. And again, I'm seeing this same message being reverberated with other men and women of God out there. And again, I'm not talking to them. They're not talking to me. I really haven't been watching any of their messages or anything, but it's interesting to get on YouTube and start playing a lot of these videos and stuff. And it's like, hey, that dude just copied my sermon. No, he didn't. It's the Holy Spirit working in the hearts of men. And so I want to present my idea of what the Mandela Effect is. And so I want to thank you so much for R. Nathaniel Daggett for asking this question. And then, just folks, if you have a question that you would like answered, go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Ray Gaino, or send me an email, ray.gaino@raygano.com, or just, again, post on some of the groups or something like that and let me know what you want to ask. And I'll be glad to answer these questions or really do some digging into this and trying to bring a good, solid answer that is possibly viable. And again, what my answer is today on the Mandela Effect and everything is just pure speculation. But it's something that the Lord really impressed upon me when this individual asked me this question. I was praying about how do I answer this question and so forth. And it just really popped into my head that this might be a counterfeit, and this is how maybe the enemy will demoralize, desensitize, negate the workings of the Holy Spirit in the church today. So folks, I just want to thank you so much to watching this show. Please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. I just want to thank all of you out there who are my readers and watchers and viewers. And if you get a chance, go to raygano.com and sign up for my newsletter. And again, subscribe to my channel and look into patreon.com/raygano. I'm working on creating a training program to teach the servant warrior on how to fight physically and how to fight spiritually. This is something that I see people a need in, and that a group of people out there are starting to rise up. This is another act of the Holy Spirit taking place today. I see the servant warrior rising up because they're needed today. People who will boldly stand for the Lord and draw that line in the sand and say, you know what, no more. I'm not taking any of this, and start pushing back. So, folks, again, my name's Ray Gaino. Thank you so much. This has been Coffee with Ray. Yeah, this has been a good one this morning. A lot of fun. Keep the questions coming. Thank you so much, and subscribe right there. We'll see you. Bye-bye. God bless, and Maranatha.